Okay, could you please say your name and what branch of the military you were in?
Pete Peel, United States Air Force from February 1958 to May of 1962. The reason it's an odd number of months, I got involuntary extended by President Kennedy because of a Berlin fighting was going on, and we were providing air refueling for NATO fighters and stuff over there.
That's cool. Why did you join the service?
Mainly, there were 6 kids in the family. I was the oldest, and it was a lot easier for me to get ahead in life at that time, 1958, by going in the military and getting training than trying to go to college and stuff, which we couldn't afford.
Yeah. So where did you first go to boot camp? Did you do any schooling first, or did you go
Went
first?
to Lackland Air Force Base in 1958. I was only there 1 month because they handpicked a bunch of people to go into tech school because of shortages. And I got to go to Biloxi, Mississippi to electronics school 1 month later. And for the next 3 months there, I went to school 6 hours a day and basic training 2 hours a day.
Wow, that's long days. So what were your experiences at boot camp like? Was it hard? Like, do you remember?
Very scary the first 3 days because you're transitioning to a very regimented, strict, controlled environment, which does wonders for most guys. It makes the skinny ones heavier, the fat ones lose weight. They all get stronger because of regular diet and exercise and regular sleep. It does wonders for all of them. It's amazing.
So do they tell you, like, you eat when we tell you to? Is it like that?
You be there on time. You're always 10 minutes early. You're never late. It just leads to practices that strengthen you basically for the rest of your life.
Do you remember it getting easier towards the end?
Once you adapt to the training and the do's and don'ts, they call them gig slips. They'd write you up if you made mistakes. And they would sometime harass you, but that was part of just building character and stuff. And you learned after a while to just grin and bear it. They sent me back to the barbershop one morning 3 times in a row because they said there was a hair on my neck.
What?
And so I had to go 3 times straight, pay every time, come back out. He was never satisfied.
Oh,
but that's just part of the deal. You know?
Are you still like in contact with anyone from boot camp? Like, do you remember any close friends?
I visited a friend in Florida last January when we were down there for our 50th wedding anniversary. A guy that I worked with at Otis Air Force Base in Cape Cod. We stopped and visited him. So that was
cool.
over 50 years since I'd seen him.
Well, do you remember like your first days of service after you shipped out?
Yeah, the first week of basic training, there was 2 or 3 people that tried to escape. They actually tried to. They were just kids that were not able to adapt, basically. And there was 3 tried to escape. A couple others that caused a lot of problems, but they ended up. A couple of them got kicked out. A couple of them got over it and made it okay. But
Where were you stationed after boot camp? Like, what were your duties?
First full-time assignment was Homestead, Florida, in the Strategic Air Command. I worked on radio, radar, and navigation aids, electronics, and KC-97 tankers that refueled in the air. And I worked on bombers, B-47s, that were kind of getting toward the end of their life cycle, B-52s, and were just coming out at that point. And I worked on both of those because they both had pretty much the same electronics now, which is primitive by today's standards, but it worked very well.
That's cool. So did you get to see any combat, or were you pretty much behind
No,
the doors?
our unit went TDY to help out over in Europe and North Africa several times, but I never had to go for some reason. I ended up staying at the base all the time.
And any medals or citations, or how'd you get any of you got?
I had a couple ribbons, but it's been so long I really don't. They were incidental,
Yeah.
like achievement or longevity type awards, or for being at a certain place at a certain time. It wasn't any individual accomplishment.
And do you what are some more of your memorable experiences?
Well, as started playing in bands in Homestead, Florida. Being there full-time military, after a while it's kind of like having a normal job. And I played in bands. We played 2-3 times a week around town and on base. Later, when the whole unit transferred to Otis Air Force Base in Cape Cod, Massachusetts, I played in bands up there, bigger band. We played like usually about 4 times a week. But it provided a lot of extra income that you needed, because I got married at Cape Cod, and having a wife and a kid, that extra income really helped out.
A lot. So during this whole time, how was it like to communicate with your family?
Getting it was collect calls.
Oh no! So you had to pay for all of that.
Once you get, your permanent party base, and you're making a little better money and stuff, phone calls is about it, and letters, manually writing.
You had to actually write the letters out, no texting or emails. You said you played in the band, like you showed the paper with your band name on it. Did you guys do anything else for, like, what'd you do for entertainment? If you ever had time off?
In Florida, of course, you went to the beach and the Everglades and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that's probably nice.
Cape Cod too, but the beach time up there is pretty limited by the
Cold water. Cold water.
But that kind of stuff, and you go hear other bands play. I was into electronics, so I worked part-time in a TV repair shop in Cape Cod for extra money also.
Do you remember the last day in your service? Or like?
Yeah, I got extended because of that action that was going on in Germany at the time in '62. And so I got extended till into May. And the last days were all about getting the car ready and checking out and getting out from under all your bills and your rent and all that stuff, closing out all your deals with landlords and everything, packing the car and taking off. It was a very scary time, because I got out with a wife and a baby and $400 to my name.
Did your military experience influence like your views on today's military, like what's going on in Iraq and all that stuff?
Well, yeah. I mean, you're going to have opinions that may be different from non-military people.
Because they didn't experience stuff.
Because you know what the guys are going through.
Is there anything else that you want to share that you can think of, or that you want to leave us with?
No, I just think it's important for a young guy that has nothing going on in their educational or career or life and doesn't know what they want to do. Just look into it, because you can get a good start with a lot of money, a lot of training, and it can lead to a long life career.